Good morning. Welcome to the Seneca County Board of Commissioner meeting. Today's June 8th. It's 10 a.m. and this is our regular board session. So we'll begin the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please bow your heads. Dear Lord, please give us your guidance as we prepare to do our work for our citizens here in Seneca County. And please pray for some rain with us, as the farmers certainly need it as the crops continue to grow. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Roll call.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Here.
Commissioner Schuff,
Here.
Commissioner Frankert,
Here. So I'll accept a motion to approve our video audio recording of the minutes of our last meeting back on Thursday, June 1st.
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner
Roll call.
Frankert,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Yes. It's good to be back, by the way. So we'll start with commissioner reports as we have a GLCAP report at 10:15. So we'll start with commissioner reports. Commissioner Schuff.
Yeah, thank you. Was in the office here this week. Yesterday, the other two commissioners and myself, we attended a OSS Solid Waste District meeting that was held over in Fremont, spearheaded by Gary Beatty, but I'll save some of this for the other guys to kind of get their take on it. But basically working with our fellow commissioners up in Sandusky County and up in Ottawa County, we're trying to do everything we can here to have a little more oversight and testing here for the landfill. So we're staying on top of that and we're making some headway there. But I'll let those guys kind of touch on that and their feelings, how that meeting went. Yesterday morning also had a TCEP executive board meeting, got some updates from TCEP and what they're doing, how their building's coming along, their initiatives, projects. I think President Mott said that he's got over 46 different projects right now in the queue, so TCEP continues to stay busy. We're trying to do everything we can to help facilitate with them. Also today there's a 4 o'clock Ohio Logistics ribbon cutting that'll be over north of Fostoria, so put that on your calendars. I will not be able to make it. I did get a call, Commissioner Paradiso. Did we get any updates as far as that driveway goes over there? Someone did ask me that and I wasn't.
We do have an update on the driveway, and if you don't mind, I'll just, the engineer and I will have a conversation and that'll be the update. Is that okay?
Perfect, yep, no.
So we had a request when we were going through the annexation process from residents that live on 23, really on both sides of the road, which is Wood County and Seneca County. And the concern was that Ohio Logistics obtained a curb cut from ODOT, that's a state highway. And the concern was that there is or will be a lot of truck traffic. So I talked to Commissioner Zimmerman, he made a call down there, and basically ODOT, there was no complaints, nobody said anything. ODOT granted them their curb cut. And so there's really nothing we can do until such time as traffic is there or not there. And if there is a problem because of a lot of traffic, then we could go to the next step and process whatever that process is today. You're up.
Completely. So all, Mark Zimmerman, engineer. So all permits, whether we issue them, the state issues them, are contingent upon use. If uses change or increase to such a level that they warrant a requirement for change, then that change will be made. At the existing time, when Commissioner Paradiso asked me to look into it, ODOT, as far as traffic generation, they felt that most of the traffic was still going to go out the other way, the way traffic goes out now, and that this was going to be used more as a entrance to the physical facility more than the warehousing side of it. But if that changes, they do have the opportunity to require larger, curb cuts and turn lanes and all that. Or they can, make them not have that much traffic generation out of that drive, so.
So I've known this for a little over a month, maybe 2 months, and so we went to the Falls Story City Council meeting, and then we both were there that night, and then I promised to get back to him with an answer, and I haven't, so we will do that, but that's the answer. We're good with the answer. I think formally I should go back to the city council meeting and make that statement, and then also there's something else I have to do when I go back there, so, go ahead.
And as a note, to anyone that may be listening or in your message to them, we will not see that personally, an increase in traffic. It is not a road that any of us are on. If residents don't inform us of things that are happening as they are happening, or the city doesn't inform us, we will not know to notify ODOT. ODOT will not be monitoring this for any reason whatsoever. So, one day, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 6 months from now, if traffic generation gets to the point where it is bad enough that it's causing safety concerns, the only way we're going to know that is if somebody tells us. So it's important that residents
I'll add that.
use their government the way it's supposed to be used. Share information for us so that we can share information back. Just
Thank
important
you.
to know.
Good, thanks for bringing that up.
And Nelson wanted to ask me, so thank you for the update.
Yeah, no, it's something, I will follow up on that one.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's about all I had. I will be out this coming Monday, possibly Tuesday. I'm hoping it's one day, but I have a medical procedure I'll be getting done, so I will be out of the office Monday for sure.
Tuesday, we had Budget Commission. I went through that. Derek was there, Paul, and Chantel, Julie was at a conference, so we had that Tuesday morning. And then Tuesday at noon, met with North Central Electric out to our first site out there at 224 to kind of get the permit signed. And then there's some questions about whether it's going to be a 3-phase or a single phase. And so we're going to kind of make some calls back and forth. So they are going to adjust the plans to kind of put a line in there to make it a single phase electrical rather than a
Expect it
3-phase.
three-phase.
Because 3-phase ran, there's kind of these things like a commercial building, and with wood, it's not going to be much different than a home with garage door openers and regular heat and stuff in there. So because it's like double everything when you start going to 3-phase
Hopefully it
on
lowers our
that. So
cost.
they're going to put an amendment in there on that.
Yeah, good
on
job.
the proposal, so that way once he started running numbers and stuff, it was pretty eccentric on that. So left there, and then Councilman Don Manell and I went to Columbus that afternoon. Then Don did testified on in support of Senate Bill 119 in Columbus, and so we went down there, and then we had our OSS meeting yesterday in Fremont. Kind of a long meeting, but a lot of good discussion, I'd say, through that, and kind of where everybody's at. Had an update from the attorney on, what his thoughts were on Senate Bill 119. And then regional planning had a meeting over Fostoria last night. I looked at the agenda, but I didn't look at the location. So I go down to regional planning office and go to pull on the door, and the door didn't open. So then I looked at it, I said, I'm supposed to be in Fostoria. So luckily at the time, so I was about 15 minutes late. But
I did the same thing yesterday.
So yeah, it just so we worked out, got there. Actually, John Spar did his Eclipse presentation, so he was just winding down when I got there, so they didn't get miss much of the meat and potatoes of the meeting stuff with it then. So that's where we're at up to today.
Okay, and this on the solid waste district, at the meeting, the district voted and approved to not wait and to immediately allocate, I'll give you the annual, no, allocate $100,000 of solid waste district money to the Seneca County Health Department. And that money is to be used for the health department to hire a full-time inspector that, which is obviously approved by the law and needed, and so that inspector can go out and help with some oversight. So the dollars appropriated, that was what happened yesterday. And then we also, at the solid waste district meeting, I'm on the finance committee, yesterday they confirmed that in next year's budget, as we go into next year's budget process around September, October, we will look at additional funding for additional testing and needs and oversight. And I thought that went about as good as it can go at this point in time. So officially, for this year, they moved $50,000 over because from July 1st to January, it's only a half a year. But the wording was, they have full intentions of baking it in the budget for next year, moving forward. So I think Seneca County Commissioners and all of our citizens, we came away with a little bit of a win from that meeting. And not only financially, but communication-wise. I think we'll see what happens. We'll keep everybody informed, but overall, it was a positive meeting. Commissioner report, or administrative report, since I always skip you, you want to try to sneak that in?
Yep, I just have one thing.
Okay,
I received
okay.
an email from Auditor Adkins about the request for the availability of the tax map office for the state auditors. They have a small office right off the elevator on the second floor. Sometimes they have upwards of 6 people in this space. I was not able to confirm square footage.
You ever gonna go back there?
I have no intention at this time.
I knew the answer, but I wanted to ask you. Okay.
I don't know what the square footage of the room that they're in currently versus what the old tax
It's
map.
small, so this is, yeah.
But yes, generally they have roughly, they could have at one time 6 people in this small office.
Will they be nicer to us if we give them?
Yeah.
Will the state auditors
Well-
treat
Was
us
they nicer to me?
They'll-
And honestly, like their office that they're trying to put in right now, like
I
one
would
of our
s-
small
I
offices
would
would
say
be
it's
like what-
about
gonna
the
be
size
what?
of maybe 2 of your guys' offices
And they don't
together.
pay us rent, we just
No,
offer that as
it's
part of
part
county.
of, yeah.
I'm okay.
It's a
with
county
it.
building, so it also gives them
You don't want.
windows. They have one window that's probably a 12 by 12
do you
window
think?
and it doesn't open or anything like that, so.
Fine with me.
But I just wanted to bring that up, that I think it might be beneficial for them.
It's the size
so.
of 2 of our offices, you say?
If that even, yeah. I
If
guess.
that,
Right,
if that, and they're trying to
it's-
cram 6 people into, when they have up to 6 people there. Yeah, it's usually, they have 4 desks in that office, and there's just enough walk room for one person to walk between the desks,
Tax
so.
map's out at the engineer's office, you're not moving back. The space is available.
I can't, you guys give me space to look.
Yeah. Are we good? So I think that falls under your,
Yeah, it was just a request, I just wanted to bring it,
We're good with
if there
it.
was any intention of using it for anything else, that way we can, and they would like to keep the office that they currently have in case they do have overflow of employees coming into the county to work, so.
okay, I mean, if we ever needed that office, I don't know what
We
we
could work
would,
with them, but yeah, I
we
mean,
would go
it's-
approach them. Our
Correct.
main office would be in tax map.
Yes, they're gonna move to the main office, their main office to tax map then.
So Jimmy, what time do we have?
It is 10:13.
10:13, so would you like to,
I hear them out in the hall.
Yeah,
can you bring them in or somebody? There, here they come.
here they come.
Welcome.
Hello.
Guys.
Just in time.
We started,
Hi, Ruth. How are you?
I'm probably funner.
We saved the front row for you.
you can introduce them. Yeah. So you're up, for your update, we'll let you settle in. Commissioner Schuff is on the GLCAP committee, so we'll let him take it from here.
I'd like to introduce from GLCAP, Ruth Ann House.
Thank you. So I'm Ruth Ann House, President and CEO of Great Lakes Community Action Partnership. Thank you for having us. So we have to pretend for today that this is May, because in May we celebrate Community Action Month across the country. There are 1,000 agencies like ours, similar to ours, not as good as ours or as.
That's true.
Yeah, so I have to say that, right? You pay me to say that, Tyler. So we are, blessed to serve the residents and the communities within your beautiful county. And we have some folks with us today who, one family with us today who's going to talk a little bit, hopefully, about her experience in the program and her children's experience. Alex will give you, we're doing just kind of a one double-sided annual report now. We're trying to be more cost efficient, and so this will give you a really good glimpse at everything we have done, high level in the organization, along with our financials. And then we're also doing, I think we did these last year too, the county-specific profiles. So this will give you a really nice snapshot of the more of the direct services that we're providing in Seneca County. We have lots of staff engaged in your county, and a lot of our folks are sitting on a variety of committees and boards and advisory groups, and Commissioner and I sit on the Family and Children First Council together here, so it's just our opportunity to be visible to you, and we know that you know how to reach us. We've done some development work with you, so talked with Carrie Hart about that yesterday, so she could give me an update, and I believe that's really gone well, and fingers crossed, and perhaps we can look at something in the upcoming biennium budget as well in terms of some projects. So thank you for having us and for recognizing Community Action Month, and you know how to reach us, and don't hesitate. Those participant calls or those constituent calls where, hey, I'm in this situation, what can I do, where can you send me? Send them to us, because we'll help, and if we can't provide any direct assistance, we know others who can, and we're certainly happy to make those connections, and that's what we do. That's our job. That's why we're here. So I'm going to let the staff introduce themselves if that's okay.
Do you want us to step up here? Is that the
Come on,
protocol? Hi, I'm Alex Boroff. I'm the Public Relations Director for GLCAP. I have to immediately say I really love your setup here. I appreciate it. It makes you visible, and that's part of what my role is. Taking pictures, going around to our centers, taking pictures there. I work with a wonderful assistant who, we make videos. We talk about all of our programs so that we're reaching participants and letting them know that we're there. I do appreciate Mr. Schuff's service on our board and the commissioner's service over time. It's welcome. I don't know what to say else about my job or my role other than I always say this, but I never wonder why I'm here. I mean, you see people helping people in our communities every day, and it's what gets me out of bed in the morning and makes me love coming to work. So I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Guys, this organization does a lot of good for a lot of people.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
I'm Jody Denninger. I am a home-based coach in the child development branch. I work with infants to toddlers and just prepare them for preschool and kindergarten. So we do developmental activities, and one of my families is here. This is Andrea, and then baby Bexley, and then Phoenix right over here. So we just work with the families about helping their child meet their milestones, and every week we go in and work with the families and just...
What's the baby's name?
Bexley.
Bexley. Okay. Hi.
Thanks, Julie.
Gentlemen, some of you guys know me. I am Jim Oliver. I'm the Mobility Management Coordinator here with GLCAP. Been here not quite a year yet. We are funded through ODOT. We, on a micro level, we work with folks to get from point A to point B. I kind of call it a transportation social work. We just help them to connect to where they need to go. Seniors, people with disabilities, low-income folks, anybody that needs a ride. And then on a macro level, we work with local elected officials, agencies, that kind of stuff, to expand transportation, figure out what gaps there are, and what we can do to fill those gaps. So
Awesome. Thank you. Hey, good to see you with a white shirt.
Yeah, right. Nice like that,
You
right?
look pretty. We will never see the commissioner or the engineer in one of those.
Well, and I appreciate you wearing your shirt and taking over for Max, so I
That's
appreciate
good.
that, so.
Thank you
Yeah.
for everything you do.
Thank you.
Are you gonna come up with me? No?
So,
Bye.
I'll be home.
Here he comes.
There you go. This is Phoenix.
Hi, Phoenix.
He's gonna be 3 in August. Bexley, she's 2 months. We both, Jody is our coach, our little helper. She comes and does all the fun things with the kids, and I'm Andrea. I have an older son who's in the Head Start program in Fostoria. It's his birthday today, actually. And then, what else? Oh, I'm on the policy council. I'm the secretary for GLCAP as well. So we do the policy council and the volunteering, and I love GLCAP. They have helped us a whole lot. Come here, buddy.
We're gonna have you come up here in the end, yeah.
Okay.
So,
Developmental wise for my kids. So I appreciate all of it.
when did you start working with GLCAP?
Just this past August.
So almost a year?
Almost a year, yeah. And we will be with them for another 4.
Yeah.
So until she's through preschool.
Thanks for servicing on the policy committee.
Any questions or comments from anybody?
Ruth, can you refresh my memory? Is it for every dollar that goes into the GLCAP program, is it 94 cents or 96 cents that goes directly back out to the public?
94.
Okay, I do. I remember that.
Bring
Yeah.
Phoenix up here, yeah.
A little group photo.
Oh, yeah. Excuse me.
per tradition, we want to give you flowers. Yes. I also have plant food.
Give them flowers, Judy?
I can help you.
Just make sure he doesn't eat the flowers.
I will give you the flowers. I totally get it.
Yeah, right.
We all do.
Jen, you want to come up?
Sure. We have to all have one for a picture. This is fun. You guys just do God's work and we.
I'll put one in my hair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Are we
can you go
okay?
back? Are we good?
Yeah, I think we're good. Okay, go ahead and look at him.
I like that.
Oh, you let me go? Okay.
Hey, Tim, we get to do this. This is
Yep,
fun.
okay. 3, 2, 1, guys, go ahead and look here. 3, 2, 1, gonna do one more. All right, thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Alex.
Count of 3. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, one more time.
One more, right here.
All right, ready?
Thanks, guys.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Gorgeous. She's even looking.
I'm sorry.
God bless you. I wish you well.
Thank you.
Keep that good attitude and, so it's awesome.
Yeah, I want to
Thanks
say
for coming
that
in.
Policy Council is a mandated part of the Head Start program, and so,
really
having
nice.
parents that are willing to serve and step up into leadership roles is just a vital piece of our program. And we're serving, well over 1,000 children and families in Head Start across the board, and so this is it's a really great opportunity, but it works both ways. And then we have probably 3 of our current board members came up through Policy Council and then took on leadership roles as board members. So, you may not be done in 4 years.
Right,
We may keep you for another, 20. Who knows?
About that yesterday. at the
Homegrown
meeting,
talent.
actually.
Thanks for
Absolutely.
coming in and
Absolutely.
sharing your story
Yeah,
with
it's not
us.
easy dragging out 2 young
No,
ones.
right.
son's
understand
birthday and
that.
everything, so
Yeah,
we appreciate
yeah.
it.
So thank
Anything
you.
else from anybody?
Thank you, Tyler,
We're
for,
good.
Thanks,
your
guys.
service on the board. You're a great asset to our board, and we appreciate your time and your talents. So,
Thank you. Right-
I remember
right back.
one night he had 2 meetings back to back. You're working too hard.
yeah, we do.
He had a meeting and then another, an hour later he had another.
We expect a lot,
It's a good organization. It's a great
Okay,
organization.
do you want me to grab the card?
Yeah.
Thank you, good to see you.
You too, thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Commissioner Kirscher would good. He'd say hello, you know
Oh,
that.
I know, he'd say more than that too, probably.
You never go way back.
And then
Along with
some.
a couple jokes.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. Thank you. So the handout that you have
Did Alex leave them?
there, he's gonna leave.
Oh,
That would
he's
be
here.
great,
Okay,
Alex.
Yep.
Okay.
Ran into your mom and dad at the corner restaurant a
Yeah.
half ago, you know?
Out and around.
Yeah. First I'd seen him in a while.
Yeah,
It's nice going to work loving what you do, right?
it is.
Isn't that?
Thank you.
So I'll give you each
Thank
one.
you. That's nice. No look.
I'm in my 39th year.
Wow.
And I will present you two with flower food.
Did you have
Thank
a,
you.
did you have a birthday a few years ago in here? Big birthday or something?
I
No?
think I might have.
Yeah, I think you were here.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
big,
Oh, we won't talk about that.
For the milestone birthday, yeah, I'm in your club, so we're good. See ya.
Thank you.
Okay, we do have a public hearing at 10:30, so Jimmy's 10:26.
Yes, sir.
We have to wait and start that right at 10:30. Is there any old business that we have? I think we have an opportunity now I'd like to bring the treasurer forward. Paul Harrison just has an item he brought to our attention. I think it's a good opportunity while you're here to maybe discuss it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Actually, it's an item that just came to my attention
Yeah.
yesterday. We were directed by the state auditors back in 2020 to start splitting the interest that we receive from our investments. And she itemized who those groups were. Two of those were the Park District and the Sewer District. And so we have been doing that. Come to find out, after talking to my chief deputy yesterday, she is also splitting out money from our investment through the STAR investment through the treasurer for the same amount. And so they've been getting paid double what they should be every month. And I've looked back and unless there's some kind of a resolution or something, we don't even know how this got started with the STAR thing. We know how it got started with the other money because the state auditor directed us to do it.
You were part of that.
I was certainly a part of that.
Yeah, and Mark
Argued
was.
and clawed and everything else, but we conformed. So, unless somebody has some history on this thing, for the Star Ohio money, when it was first opened, there was only $7,000 put into that fund.
The only time I've ever heard was back in the Soil and Water days, they used Star Ohio back then.
Yeah,
But
that's
I don't,
correct.
yeah, and that's, other than that, that's the only entity that I'm aware of that ever.
They were probably doing that on their own because
Right,
we've never
and
had.
so that was, yeah, that's the only time I've ever,
Did you talk, well, you just discovered this, so
I-
can we track down either with Julie or, is there a resolution anywhere? I wouldn't.
I can
Think there's
see what
one,
I can
but-
find, but
Like I said, this goes back to the Star Ohio Fund was started on October of 2014 for what I have, for accounts. And, like I said, there was only $7,000 put in the account at that time. There's currently, a couple $1 million in that account. And the sewer district's
Yeah,
getting
so-
credit for 286,000 of that, and the park district's getting credit for 660,000 of that based on their fund balances each month. And
They're also getting the same thing in
and they're
meter.
also getting the same
Old
one
Fort.
from us, yeah.
So this is some discussion. I think you discovered it, going forward, I'm just talking out loud. I think we could pay them their interest due and their balance one time instead of two times. We let whatever we paid them in the past go, and we just simplify life, and going forward, you do what you've been doing since 2020.
Right.
And
Because we do have direction from the state auditor
Yeah.
for
on
that.
what to do.
But as far as the Star Ohio account,
We just
I
kind of
don't have any
make that
idea.
official if you need to. I mean, I'm open for discussion, but you're here now and you want to resolve it. And County Administrator, do we need a resolution or can we just put in the minutes that we had this discussion? And
I think we could probably just put it in the minutes at this point. I can look to see if there
you can
was
ask
a
the auditor if they need
Yeah,
something
and
more.
I can also look to see if there was ever a resolution for the Star Ohio balance.
Yeah, okay.
And we can.
Maybe we're not officially doing anything
Yeah,
right now, but
We can, it
we'll
can be
take
put
action
on,
next meeting.
yeah.
Well, we pay them on a monthly basis, and obviously, and they asked me this morning, what do I do about this? I said, pay them, because that's what we've been doing until we get some other direction, so.
Okay, so I think, we have the minutes going and we had the discussion and we'll get back to you.
Okay,
Is
sounds
that-
good.
Are you happy with,
Sure,
that
I'm
what you
just
wanted?
tickled as can be.
and then we'll let you, we'll let Barb track it down through all the channels.
Okay.
Make it formal and we'll be good.
Good, thank you.
Good.
Are we still making 4% on $80 million?
We rolled in, yes, I'll just say yes, how's that?
Just hit that. Sounded good.
Yeah, last month it was around, it's just crazy what that has done now. You got the breakdown here, so. Yeah, $44,000 is what we got from Old Fort Bank alone last month. And then the meter money generates more than that.
Okay, so it's 10:32, my time, is that right, Jimmy? Thank you, Paul. It's 10:32, so we will formally go into a public hearing for petition to vacate a bridge. It's an asterisk culvert in Pleasant Township. I'll ask Engineer Zimmerman to come forward and run the meeting for us, the public hearing.
How about that?
Yeah, there you go.
All right, that's it. So
seems
just
really
a little history on this. There are no landowners here for this particular thing, right? So I'm not going to get into the whole hoopla of.
Like last week.
Don Ellis might be on a Zoom call.
Oh,
He requested the Zoom information.
Okay.
Don't say them.
Thanks for
okay.
reminding me.
Well, maybe just in case anyone is listening and is interested, kind of cover the process. According to Ohio law, in order to have a road right-of-way is established, it is accepted by the county commissioners under law. And just like roads can be established, they can be vacated, which means they are no longer of use to the public, and therefore the underlying fee, the underlying ownership of that land, which once was in the hands of a township or a village or city or the county, can be given back to the landowners just like it was prior to that road ever existing. So the one that we're dealing with today is a little different in nature than anything I've ever seen before or anything that this department or this office has ever dealt with before. But back in 1947, a section of Township Road 138 in Pleasant Township was vacated. It was vacated from the now abandoned and removed railroad line to County Road 37. And the other side of the railroad was left intact where the right-of-way still exists from County Road 15 up to the right-of-way. Now, what makes this unique is that this is not a road that goes, this right-of-way does not exist from roadway to roadway like most right-of-way do. And that's because there's the old railroad. And because railroads existed before roads did, and railroads are federalized, the railroad owns that right-of-way, that section of, and what happens is a county or township goes up to their edge of right-of-way, stops, starts again at the other end of their right-of-way, and continues. So there's a gap in county right-of-way. All right? Well, in this gap exists a culvert, a structure, that used to be under control of the county, township, and we have records. It was bridge number 29. That's how we used to reference it. They just had a number. According to today's laws, it is not even, not a bridge, it's a culvert. But regardless of that, that structure still exists. And when the right-of-way was vacated, of course, they couldn't vacate the structure because it wasn't on township right-of-way. It was on railroad-owned property. The question came up as to who owns this structure. What liability exists for this structure. And so in talking with the prosecutor's office, we came up with the conclusion that the best way to deal with this is to vacate the structure and any interest we may have in it. It's entirely possible that because it is now in private hands, that land that used to be owned by the railroad has been sold to private property owners now, that the county and township have absolutely no claim to it whatsoever. None, because it's in private hands. Or there may be some liability that still exists out there because it was once owned by the county. So this vacation hearing is to determine, is to just to quit, it's basically a quit claim, to quit any claim we would have on it. Give that structure and any claim we would have on it to its underlying property owners, and just say that it's not ours anymore. So we are not actually vacating any land like we normally do. We're not giving any right-of-way back to a property owner like we normally do. We are just vacating any interest we may have in the structure that resides there today. So to my knowledge, we had a viewing this morning at 9:15. There were a couple of property owners there. There was no dissent, meaning that there was no person there that seemed to be against, although this is the place for that. So the viewing, the commissioners were there to put their eyeballs to see what they're going to be voting on today, or maybe not voting on, but at least have the hearing on today. And so the second part of that is to have the hearing where we are today. And this is the time where any landowner that has interest in that structure has the right to come in and say, yes, I want to vacate that, or want you to vacate that, or no, here are the reasons why I do not want you to vacate that. So with that, I don't know if I explained that well enough, where we are. Very unique situation, very, very unique. But we're just giving up any interest we may have in that structure so that the property owners know it's theirs.
Well explained. Anyone online? Jimmy, want to comment?
I don't think so. I can open up the lines here. If you'd like to come forward, you can unmute now. I don't think so.
Okay, so hearing none. Commissioner discussion. Commissioner Frank?
Should we do a motion first? Should we move forward and discuss, or? Yeah.
It's up to you.
Yeah, why move we proceed with the vacation of the structure?
Okay,
Second?
all right. Now we can have discussion.
We were both there, yeah,
I
Tony
mean,
and I were both there.
Kind of cleans everything up and,
Yeah, and,
Well
definitely,
done.
I think it's, it could be a safety hazard for who knows.
yes,
So I think it's, something that we should proceed with.
township trustees were there, it's good.
Thanks for the explanation,
Yeah,
too.
oh, and I should have mentioned that the township trustees did pass a resolution which started this,
Yeah.
that they are totally in favor of vacating any interest in the structure as well. I forgot to add that, but yes.
Very good.
Yeah, good, so we
And
have
that's usually the
first,
process, is in Mark, it starts with the township, if it's a township road,
Yeah,
to
good.
start, or
Yeah.
culvert, whatever.
Yeah, the best way, it can start with an individual property owner, but the best way, and traditionally it starts with the trustees, they are the ones that come forward and say, we no longer have interest in this, we want to vacate it, we want to give it back.
yeah, it's their, I mean, it's township road, right? Okay, we have first and second, roll call.
Commissioner Frankert,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Yes, thank you. So we want to, we'll pause here before we go into new business. Charlene, should we go through new business and then you guys can come up and talk? Okay, be great. Back to the administrator, new business. Thank you.
Thank you very much, have a great one.
Yeah,
Thanks, Mark.
good,
Mark.
good. Thanks, Mark.
Okay, I have just a few supplemental appropriations. the concealed handgun licenses fund, I was requesting $1,000 in their equipment line. This is for the purchase of 2 pistols for the sheriff's office. I also have a reduction in appropriations for the EPA on-lot septic system fund. This was for their loan payment. Charlene gave a very good explanation. These funds were appropriated from the yearly OWDA loan payback. The loan was paid in full in May, and the line no longer needs the funds appropriated to it. And I believe she was working with one of the ladies at the auditor's office that came to this dollar amount for the reduction. The amount is $2,656.87.
Okay, make a motion, we accept supplemental appropriations.
I'll second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Commissioner Franker?
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff?
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso?
Yes.
On to resolutions. The resolutions are a little different than what was originally put out with the original agenda. We had a request from regional planning to remove 2 resolutions from the original agenda, and then also there was a resolution that was pulled for the sheriff's office that is no longer on the agenda. So the first resolution I have is establishing the Sandusky County General Health District Tobacco Use Prevention and Cessation Grant Fund on behalf of the Mental Health Recovery Services Board of Seneca, Ottawa, Sandusky, and Wyandotte counties.
Make a motion that we accept the resolution as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call?
Commissioner Franker?
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff?
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso?
Yes.
Second resolution I have is setting place, time, and date to receive sealed bids for the Seneca County EMS Station 1. This is to occur, sealed bids will be received until 10 a.m. on Thursday, June 29th, with a bid opening at approximately 10:05 that same day.
Make a motion to approve the resolution.
Okay, a second. A little discussion for clarification. So this is, this will be for our first EMS building on 224. Remember, we passed a resolution with the timeline, then we rescinded it. We have since met with the contractors. We thought we had it right. Commissioner Fraker met with the North Central Electric, and we now have another little change, but we're excited. And what this does is begins the process for bids and ultimately bid opening on the 29th. So I think that pause and that little extra time was beneficial to everybody. And we're right back on track. So we still plan on having that building built by the end of the year.
I will also note that there's a pre-bid conference to be held at 9 a.m. on Tuesday, June 20th at the project site.
Okay. Any other discussion on this one? You good?
Let's move forward.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Roll call.
Commissioner Franker?
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff?
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso?
Yes. Next.
Setting time, date, and place to receive sealed statements for qualifications for energy conservation and facility improvement projects. This is to take place on Thursday, July 13th, here at the Commissioner's office at 10 a.m. This is for the energy conservation and the improvements at the jail.
Okay, I make a motion. We pass this.
Second.
Okay, a little discussion. Feel free to speak up just for benefit of the public. Sheriff, I don't know if you're on or not, but we have some issues out at the jail with maintenance and we've worked really hard. We're continuing to work on all our buildings to identify, Tom, this has to do with, started with the boiler cleaning and that whole thing. Now we're into chillers and thermostats and just all kinds of things. So what we have applied for grants several times and we're not successful. So we now feel that we'd like to make the scope of the project a little bigger, including the boilers, the chillers, other things, and we are now seeking bids for companies to come in and look at how we can save money by doing this, thus aid in our payback. So it would make our decision a little more easier if we invested a big chunk of money knowing we were to save a big chunk of money on an annual basis. Is that a fair way to explain it?
And I think part of that too is you're also looking at lighting and other
Lighting
stuff.
and so
Insulation.
instead of just getting surprises all the time, 100,000 here and there, I think we're taking a step back, looking at really doing it right up front and for the long term. Is that you good with that?
Yeah, it's just basically we're requesting qualifications and then there'll be an actual interview process and a selection process.
Yes, so in this initiative, if we had 3 different contractors in here, we would get 3 different ideas and 3 different proposals on how to go about it. So that's what this would be. We're gonna bring them in and listen to all of them, and then we will select 1 or 2 and narrow it down, and ultimately 1 to move forward. So that's this process. A lot of moving parts. We're really looking forward to it. This was proposed to us several years back. I think even maybe your first year before your time, but we're now resurrecting it. And anyhow, so the public knows. Jimmy, had a thought?
Yeah, just have Sheriff Stevens if he wants to come forward.
Yeah, Sheriff Stevens. I'm not sure you're even aware of that, but any comment on your end?
Yeah, I think you did a good job explaining it. That was part of the issues that we talked about last year with the boilers, about going out. There's some federal and state regulations that we fall under in the jail area that we have to keep the temperature back there between 68 and 72 degrees. If you fall short of that or go over that because of the heat in the summer or the cold in the winter, then we have to look at alternate means of getting the 158 inmates out of and housed somewhere else. So then there becomes temporary housing, transportation costs, paying out of county fees, so to get ahead of it, like we did last year with they having to do a temporary fix, knowing that we have to replace the boilers is just smart. Especially on the chillers, we know we're going to have some 90-degree days coming up in a row, and that right now the chillers are on their last leg. And we had a quote, I think last August, of $7,000 or $7,300 just to fix it, and it's kind of dragging on itself right now with the 80-degree weather that we just had. So the sooner the better, because there are some of the equipment out here that have seen its better days. Even though it's commercial equipment, it's way past its lifespan. So thank you for addressing that.
Sheriff, how old is the jail?
The jail was, I think, went into operation in 96 or 97, but it started being built around 92 or 93. I believe I started in 93 at the police department in Tiffin, and the jail had been shut down downtown and was utilizing the city jail in 93. And I think they moved out, I want to say, in 96 out here. So you're talking, we're bumping up to 30 years here, 27 years if they did go into operation in 96.
Yeah, so for public benefit. You know, the jail's close to 30 years old.
And there's a 24-hour business there.
It's a
I think
24-hour
that's the difference
business,
between
yeah.
some of the other offices and that. I mean, they're constantly there. Yeah. So that's,
So I
Yeah,
guess,
there-
quite stuff.
That's a good point. A lot of people, I don't think, get that it's a 24/7 operation. So every day, equipment's being used, the utilities are on, the washers, the dryers. As a matter of fact, we're getting the new dryers through the commissary are being delivered today. So that's another, everyday thing. The kitchen equipment's being used, consumables, and just round the clock wear and tear on equipment and the facility itself.
so I guess, as always, we'll continue to communicate through Barb with your office on short-term maintenance needs, but we're kind of asking you, and knowing that it'll be July 13th, we'll open the bids. We'll probably take a few weeks after that to go through a selection process, maybe 30 days. But we're fluid, we're committed to moving this forward. But it is going to take some time till we can, sign a contract and get a contractor working out there. So in the meantime, we have this, something goes bad, how do we handle it so we can fix it right kind of thing. So keep communicating on your end.
Absolutely.
And
We appreciate the back and forth communication and the need and the necessity not to kick the can down the road. So thank you very much.
yeah. Any other discussion from anybody?
Nope, I think we're good.
Okay, we have a first and a second, right?
Yes.
Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Frankert,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso.
Yes. Next.
Resolution to affirm Seneca County's due diligence to provide for equal housing opportunity and affirmatively further fair housing in Seneca County, Ohio.
Move for passage of the resolution.
I'll second.
Okay, hearing no discussion yet, roll call?
Commissioner Frankert,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso.
Yes.
The last resolution that I have is approval of projects and amounts for the CDBG payment year of 2023, project year of 2023 Community Develop Program, and authorizing the current president of the Board of Seneca County Commissioners to sign the application and related documents to be submitted for the county program year 2023 Community Development Block Grant Program. As a motion.
So move.
Okay, that first,
Second.
Commissioner Frankert, Commissioner Schuff. I think we're on time, right, Charlene?
Yes,
This works?
so we're submitting, just for public knowledge, Charlene Watkins, Executive
Yep.
Director of the Seneca Region Planning Commission. For public knowledge, we are submitting the program year 2023 CDBG application for ADA compliance modifications to the front of the Fostoria Municipal Building. This will put in new ADA compliant doors, a ramp, and there will be sidewalks that will be repaired and fixed for ADA compliance. The city of Fostoria will be contributing about $13,000 towards the project. They have committed up to 20%, but we don't need all of that. But they probably will hold that in case the project runs over. They will, I mean, they've been notified, so they know that if their estimate and the work runs over, they have money. So the other project we are going to do is homelessness prevention throughout Seneca County, except City of Tiffin. And I always have to say that so we remember that the City of Tiffin has its own allocation. It's on a different program cycle. So the county program cannot service anything inside the City of Tiffin unless it is a county-wide facility or project. So homelessness prevention, we can't do a single person inside the City of Tiffin, but everything outside we do. And we've done that since I've started pretty much, and we've been doing CDBG. It's a very successful program and it's very needed. That program will help with up to 3 months delinquent rent, up to 3 months delinquent mortgage, first month's rent and deposit, or delinquent utilities. So it is a program that helps keep people in housing or get people housed. And we need that service. And then of course the remainder is fair housing and administration that is required. So that is what we will be getting ready to submit as soon as we have all the signed documents from the commissioners and Commissioner Paradiso today.
Thanks for the warning. So, roll call, please.
Commissioner Frankert,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso.
Yes. Thank you. So, at this time, we go into public comment. Our friends from Liberty Township are here. And I'd like to invite any of you, all of you up, tell us a little bit about project. Just give us an update on Liberty Township and tell us a little bit about maybe what you're working on. Good opportunity to do that. Draw straws back there and see who loses.
All three of them.
Yeah, come on up. For the citizens of the county, we have our 3 trustees from Liberty Township over there by Bethville. You guys want to introduce yourself? It'd be great, and let's have a conversation.
All right, I'm Jeff Lynch, Liberty Township. This is my 3rd term, so we are here in regards to tearing down the township house that's been there for 150 years or more.
Before the 1900s. Dennis Brickner, I've been on the township trustee for about a year and a half now, so learning a lot of new things.
Every day.
Tim Lynch, Liberty Township trustee, and this is my 48th year as a township.
Just for a trivia question, for a little bit of fun, the 2 Lynches here. Wasn't one of the first township trustees a Lynch?
I think so.
Be like your great-great-great-grandpa. So
Someplace back there.
yeah, and was it your grandpa that was a trustee for 75 years?
72 consecutive years it would be his.
Your grandpa.
My great-grandfather.
Your great-grandfather.
He was the fiscal officer for 72 years.
He was the
Consecutive
Liberty
years. Consecutive.
Consecutive.
fiscal
Never lost
officer
an election.
for 72 years.
Started
So,
when he was 20 and finished when he was 92.
The Lynches are.
Yeah, he
You
was
have a lot of
recognized
Lynch
by
here. Oh my goodness.
the state legislators. Tim was still on. They had a big party and a big.
Oh, yes.
They had a
Yeah,
big
governor,
shindig for him.
well, not the governor, but the lieutenant governor came and filled it.
Okay, so we're going to talk about your building. Tim Lynch are you still the president one more year?
Yes.
Tim is the president of the Ohio Township Association, which is 1,390 townships?
1,308 townships.
Oh, wait, okay.
And-
We were debating this in the car.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's 1,308 townships, which translates into 5,232 elected township officials in our organization.
That's pretty impressive. Isn't that really neat? And Tim's president of the whole state township association. When we have county events, he brings up the brass from Columbus, and it's really nice to have that connection and so forth. So, yeah. And you have one more year?
Yeah, this is my last year. It's term limited, so I think February we'll have our new election.
One more trivia question while you're here.
Sure.
Everybody's elbowing me. Hurry up and get the meeting over, but this is good stuff. Trustee Lynch signed the original EMS agreement in the county back in 74?
Something like, no, I don't think it was
78, I think.
78, yeah.
78.
Yeah.
1978. He was one of the original township trustees that began the EMS township. And just for fun, tell us what the first EMS vehicle was.
For our first vehicle in Liberty Town, well, it wasn't even Liberty Township then, but it was Bettsville, and it was an amble wagon which was donated by Phil Engel. It was actually a vehicle that they picked up dead people.
It was a hearse.
It was, yeah, well, that was our the next vehicle we got was a hearse.
Oh, you started with that, then you got.
We started with that one. Yeah,
it
it acted like a glorified station wagon is what it was. And
so we've come a long way with
yes,
the
we have.
but this is good. That's good stuff. So,
Do you like the direction we're heading now?
Dennis, you want to tell us about the building? One of you, kind of what you're thinking, and
The building right now is
Yeah.
unusable. I mean, there are different animals living in it. We have not used it for years. there's mold in it. And the only way we're able to get another building put up is if we can come up with some money, a grant or something, to help tear this one down. Because our budget will not allow us to do
both.
everything. So we were here working with Charlene to try and get a grant of some sort to help at least get that tore down, because pretty soon it's gonna fall down.
Yeah, I think if you notice around the countryside, a lot of these buildings, especially that age, for no reason are collapsing.
Sure.
And like I said, this building was a schoolhouse, a 2-room schoolhouse, and when they dissolved, they didn't dissolve it, but they were consolidating all of these 1-room schools. Since that was a township building, they are in the township. That became our new
That was
building.
an upgrade back then?
Huh?
That was an upgrade for the trustees.
That's right.
Yeah,
So what
got
they
the-
did,
going to the schoolhouse.
what they actually did then was it was a 2-room building, and so they knocked out one side and made that where we parked the trucks. Parked a truck in there, and then the other side was used as an office. But I think that was in the 50s when that happened, and but then they just had a pot, a pot-bellied stove in there for the heat. I've heard a lot of stories about that, but kind of before my time. But it's I think when we're talking about cost, the cost of even trying to redo it or renovate it. Granted, it's historical, but that cost would be, would be over what the building's even worth. So.
Okay, anything else from you? Anybody? Any questions from the commissioners?
So I think what process are you looking at? What fund or what you're currently looking at?
So what we started looking at was using the Economic Development Revolving Loan Fund. And I am going to preface this with saying it's the Economic Development Revolving Loan Fund is the name of the fund, but it gets very confusing because you can use that fund for so many different things. And so that fund can be used for a loan to provide economic development services in Seneca County and St. Tiffany and City of Fostoria, to create new jobs if someone needs it or what have you. As the fund grows and it becomes stagnant, it's not being used, or it could be being used but we have a larger amount, we can actually use those funds for community development block grant allowable projects. And those allowable projects include all those things I've went through during CDIS meetings and stuff we've approved for the CDIS and for CDBG. So we have all the lists of everything we can do with that, right? One of the things we can do with that is we can use it to cure slum and blight. So we've worked with the township and we have an engineer's estimate on the property for demolition. We have a certification of slum and blight from the engineer. There's a form they have to fill out for the state to even qualify for slum and blight, and we have to have an engineer fill it out. They did. It does qualify. All the rankings are bad. It's not good. So our first thought was we were going to put it in with the CDBG grant, and I'm going to kind of preface this with all of my instructions that I received for the CDBG grant said it was required that we use our outstanding balance that's stagnant. Everything said required. So Tony and I did have a conversation with the Ohio Department of Development yesterday. Jared, who oversees the whole RLF program for the state, he informed us that was an oops for the allocation program. It is not required. That should not have been in the instructions or taught to us during our required training. So as a grant writer, when I'm told it's required, you shall or should, that is what you do. So now knowing we don't have to include it in the CDBG grant application, we're now putting it to the side so we can do the CDBG grant and move forward with researching appropriate funding to do this. So what we would like to do is work with the Scioto County General Health District has already said they commit some funds. I'm gonna further that conversation with them to see if we can do a little bit more from them and a little bit less from our revolving loan fund. That way it kind of balances out and we're not taking so much from one and so much from another. So that's really what we're looking at right now. It's kind of a, let me get through this, what I gotta get done this week, and then I can start looking into how the possibilities of who we can combine to do this. The trustees are well aware of the process, they're well aware of what needs to be done, and they have been nothing but supportive and right on top of it.
So I want to, if I may, I want to make a comment for
Mm-hmm.
both. So we have two things going on here right now, okay? The first thing is, if we could separate it. The trustees are here with the commissioners. We weren't aware of, it's nice to meet you. It's great. And they have a building they want to tear down, and they're letting us know that. That's number one. This fund that you're talking about, I think we need a separate discussion on the fund.
Yes.
And we owe that to all parties, all the commissioners, the auditor, the prosecutor, yourself, everybody that's had questions about what is the fund, how to get there, what's the uses of the fund. I will say I feel way more comfortable about understanding the fund, but we haven't had a chance to have that discussion, so we will, okay? So what the commissioners need to do is decide, we have to certify what that fund is. There's some gray area regarding that fund, and we're not real comfortable right this minute of you proceeding as you discussed. That said, the building needs torn down. You're going to continue to look at options. I would also add a dotted line. There have been opportunities, and this is administered by the land bank. We had that brownfield money where our county, we had our youth, our old juvenile center tore down, and that was a $60-some thousand. What was that, Barb? 60-some
It ended up being
thousand?
like 40, 30.
It ended up with land back.
Maybe 40,000.
Land back, I think it's 40,000, roughly
And
40,000.
we paid nothing, okay, it just took them out. We qualified. So I think the case in point is you're in the red zone as far as tearing that baby down. You've got Charlene doing some work on it. The county commissioners know about it. You're going down a path like you see it, and that's fine. But I think we ought to, it doesn't matter how we get it down, let's just get it down. So I would like to leave it there, but give us a little time to regroup and talk about this fund like we ended our conversation yesterday, because we just haven't had a chance to talk about it.
Right, and we.
Is that okay?
Yeah, we talked about it during our board meeting last
Yeah.
night at Regional Planning, and it's really can we just let the dust settle a moment?
I think that's what we need to do.
And it's not anything bad. It's a matter of when your plate is full, you have to let the dust settle so
Yeah.
we can all come back and regroup. So we need to regroup with the county to ensure that when they do the documentation for the use of the fund, that it meets the state and federal requirements for the CDBG program income fund. So it's gonna have to meet that. We're gonna go through that with the auditor and prosecutor. So
You guys good with that?
Yeah.
it's gonna take a little bit of time.
We're good.
But a little bit of time is always better to make sure that we have things insured and make sure that we do things right. And I think Tony and I really both felt so much better after the conversation with Jared yesterday that, it was a weight lifted off my shoulder because I was very much stressing.
Where we're at,
We're good now.
Yeah, we're going to the
I
next
do have a
step.
question.
Go ahead.
Is there a history of that fund being used for anything like this before? Have they used this fund in the past?
There is a history of it.
Yes, no, maybe. Treasurer Harrison's been on the Rand Regional Planning back in the 90s. Was it the 90s, Paul?
Yes.
80s?
I remember that.
80s? I mean, it was before it was after the Hearst ambulance, but, there was a fund then. But, there's a lot of, the auditor doesn't have record, and the commissioners, we need to get comfortable with it, because in the end, we oversee the money and we're responsible for it.
I think that's what the prosecutor, I had a nice conversation with the prosecutor yesterday, and thank you for calling me. 7 o'clock at night, but I had a farmland preservation meeting yesterday.
Yeah.
And so I called him from Columbus, and then he did talk to me, graciously talked to me in the afternoon. And from our conversation, it pretty much rests on your shoulders.
I think so, that's where.
And so, you know, and there might be, you know, as I talked to Derek, he said that, you know, you guys have, you know, might have to make some changes in some of the requirements, or not the requirements, but, you know, that you have the skeleton there, and you do have that opportunity to make some changes within our county.
And that's what we need to, just.
We just have to have a conversation, and then
around it. And I think, Charlene, is there like an application, because not only Liberty Township, I'm sure there's other townships and villages that could have a similar situation. Is there a standard application that entities could fill out for this, or is this something you need to create for this process? That way, you know, we don't fumble our way through it. It's kind of and then the committee, who would select this, and
Sure.
at that point.
So to give a little bit of information on that, we always have a pre-existing pre-application for CDBG grants. So that pre-application really goes with our regular CDBG grant, which we do every biannual. But that one actually fits this because it's CDBG money, so we just relabel the top of it and we can use it. We already have an established revolving loan fund committee, and last week you guys certified their term, so we do have a great committee. God love those people because they know what they're talking about when it comes to financing, so they're wonderful. And we do have established policies for that committee that were established way before my time. And they did receive notice today that we do need to update those a little bit. So we have things, everything is there and in place.
Right.
Processes are there. This isn't a new program, it's been here for a long time. So everything is really sitting there, everything's been used before. It's really a matter, I think, of us making it so everybody knows what it's for on the county administration side. Does that make sense?
Right. I would like to end with this topic, because we're going to just keep talking, but, you know, Trustee Lynch, basically, you know, we have to decide what to do with the money. The state, Jared sent us a list of, there's all kinds of things we need to talk about. So this is going to take one, maybe a couple meetings for us to get comfortable. And I think this is also appropriate that we get this right and take our time, because Treasurer Harrison also brought to my attention there are other stagnant accounts in the county. And you're going to try to purge your list and see, you know, the whole motive is these accounts were set up for a reason. And if they're sitting there 10, 20, sometimes longer years later, what the state's trying to do is say, look, we're going to give you more money, but you got money sitting there, you're not using it. So deploy that out into the community, and let's keep churning this money over. Now, we have different views on how that should be, et cetera, et cetera. So I think what we're going to do is we'll just talk about it right here like we're doing now, and we'll come to an agreement. Then we'll know that's the rules of that fund. Then we can go from there. But I think from your perspective, you know, you have Charlene working, let everybody know in the county, let all the grants, let the land bank, let everybody know what you want, and let's just try to get the money. So I would like to end with that, knowing that we will take this up later.
Yeah, but just
discuss
make
that
one
fine.
more little comment.
Yeah,
after your
that's
question.
fine.
Yeah, so basically, as you alluded to, you have the economic revolving loan fund, and then you're talking this comes out of a different pool or the same one, same
all
fund.
the same money.
Okay, so I guess the question is, I guess this is new to myself on that the fund's been established for quite a while. You have somebody in 2017, looks like the email you sent, a business that's utilized it, and basically the interest that they're being charged is 2.98 or whatever, and that comes back in as extra funds that could be utilized for future economic development on the other side of it. if there's a business that needs to do what they did in 2017, you would orchestrate that also through your office, is that correct?
Sure, that's correct.
So if somebody goes to Adam Gilmore, says, hey, I'm a business, I need to, I will put expand, and then
Yeah.
he would get with you then to work to see if there's, the
Exactly
revolving
what we
loan could be utilized for that then. So the concern we don't want to run into is that we utilize it for, you know, where a business could be to help enhance the economy and stuff in
Well,
here.
it can
So-
be used for two things. It can be
Right.
used for a business and it can be used for this.
But we don't want
It's
to
the
drain the
same,
well to.
but it's the same money.
Right.
So-
That's the state rule.
Yeah.
And so
Okay.
to remember, this
So-
is a revolving account. So what's really, and I always say this is cool about the revolving loan fund, is that let's say, let's say we're in the future, okay, and you guys approve what we're going to do with the money, and we decide to do this project, and we have $115,000 in the revolving loan fund. And I'm just going to throw out even numbers to make the world easy, okay? And we use $100,000 towards the project, and we get them done, and it's a grant. And 2 months later, we have business XYZ who comes in, and they are like, we would like to apply for a $75,000 GAP assistance, which this is what it is, the GAP assistance. And they meet all the qualifying factors for economic development. We only have $15,000 in our account, right? So what we do is we do the application, we work with our revolving loan fund team, and then once we get our packet together, we call the state and we say, okay, we are ready to submit to you because we need more funding from you, and this is how much we need. We then submit to the state, and we would finance that 15, and they would finance the other 60,000. And guess what happens? When they finance that other 60, that payment and all that interest comes right back to us and goes into our revolving loan fund account. So I think that's a really cool thing that works with that, because it will always let us bring money back in to service out to the economic development or community development process. And I hope that answers the question, because this is,
What we talked about last time, I just
Yeah.
wanted you to be able to, for the people to understand that part of it, so thank you.
it's a super confusing program because you can do so much with it, and then, you know, I've dealt with this for so many years that I can talk
You guys
over
can
it,
talk-
I've been
let's
trying
talk
not
later.
to, but
Get some answers.
always ask the questions, let me know anything else.
Charlie,
Thank you for the consideration.
Just trying to
Appreciate it.
You good?
That's it, yeah.
Hey, good. I don't want to, but I kind
we're
of
good.
do because I got another meeting. Are we good? Everybody's good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Jim, any,
Thank you, thank you very much.
thanks for coming in. It's nice,
It's fun.
Don't be
nice seeing
strangers.
you. Yeah. Well, sorry, Jim, before we go to you, anybody in the audience want to speak? Adam, you want to say anything? Anybody? Paul, you good? Okay, Jimmy?
If you're on Zoom with us right now and you want to speak during public comment, you can unmute your line now.
Good, thanks. Didn't mean to rush it. Yeah. Okay, hearing none. Any
I have
further
nothing else.
comments? We have a meeting next Thursday,
Yes,
same time, please?
yes.
Okay, all right, meeting adjourned. Thank you.